Hennessy and hand grenades, gunpowder and holy water. Hennessy and hand grenades, gunpowder and holy water. Hard code, I'll be this way until my outro. Fuck around and turn LA into the South Pole. Praying on my downfall, hating on the down low. Take my name in vain when you say it, it's a mouthful. Burning sage, let it permeate. It feels like we're a world away, distant. Forgive me for my worldly ways, face judgment when I learned to fake interest. Burning frankincense at the pearly gates entrance, yeah. This gunpowder and holy water. The son's proud of the Holy Father. Grow sunflowers in total darkness. Got a dungeon, it's underground for tortured artists. All my demons get along. They tell me, trust your instincts, even when they're wrong. Treachery amongst friends, you could read it in your palm. Cutting off your right hand, like a thief in the Quran, yeah. Juggling Hennessy and hand grenades. Balancing enemies with family strains. Learning everybody can't be saved. At times you gotta amputate, cut them off. Ignore the phantom pains, fuck them off. She say she love me, but I don't know. She got a nose like a snowblower. Cops came, that's my dog, he wouldn't roll over. All my life I flirt with death and got the cold shoulder. Hennessy and hand grenades, gunpowder and holy water. Hennessy and hand grenades, gunpowder and holy water. Hard code, I'll be this way until my outro. Fuck around and turn LA into the South Pole. Goes without saying, so my mouth closed. I seen cousins banging different rags, staying in the same household. Now you staring at a killer. We run the jungle floor out here scaring the gorillas. Got me spitting coke, both my parents were familiar. Same feeling, had my pops running errands for the dealer. They said I fell off, then I reappeared. If this ain't what you want, it's what you need to hear. What's realer than that? Breaking out, I got an itch that only my first million can scratch. Yeah, most high of dollar signs. Money's my religion, both middle fingers high. Give a fuck about the system. To me, the mainstream is just a puddle that I piss in. If I go underground, that's when I tunnel out of prison. Went from skimp blunts to backwoods, to Brinks trucks from canned goods. From second hand to Taylor stitching. So none of y'all made me, y'all just made me different. Hennessy and hand grenades, gunpowder and holy water. Hennessy and hand grenades, gunpowder and holy water.
I counted up 100, that was all facts. Me and Billy bankroll, seen it all stacked. I fucked your dream girl and never called back. Ain't scared of jail, send me where my dog's at. I got a hall pass, I might fuck your bitch tonight. With a glass of that Diddy, ho, we sippin' white.
Till I can't see straight, throw hands till I hear them sirens. Tears running down my face. God's cry when the sky is falling now. Just might running down for the love of the chase. Just might put a thing for the flows in my watch. Just might
catch a case if you lames out of place.
Just might
grab a case, take it straight to the face.
Just might running down for the love of the chase. Just
hold on, you got me fucked up. Old land in my veins, what you made of? If you ain't fucking with a nigga saying I don't want to fake love. I don't need no more, but I'm still gon' go for it.
Yeah. Look. I remember 2004, I would tell the homies about you. And they was into 50 Cent and all the gangster rap. I told them you would change the game, they couldn't take it back. You brought them soul samples back, man, I could relate to that. I read the credits on Blueprint and saw your name on that. Your verse on Check Out the Bounce, man, you was flaming cats. So I knew when your shit dropped, there'd be some different shit. Some conscious rap with some real street nigga shit mixed with it. You didn't disappoint, man, that shit was so intricate. You spoke for those at the bottom and really meant the shit. And when you mention chicks, you would always mention your girl. And that told me that that was the centerpiece to your world. Either that or your mama, the black queens you would honor. And that helped me out through my relationships, if I'm honest. I was a student of you, there's so much stuff that you taught us. I never could forget all the classic hits that you brought us. But Nowadays I just feel like maybe you caught up, forgot how you was brought up. Got your nose all up in the air like you were not us, and got the nerve to say that racism dead. But why don't you call up your buddy Trump and to ask him how come the prisons is all us? Are we more prone to violence? Are we more prone to do drugs than the whites? Man, you don't see this crisis. You don't see how police do these white kids. They shoot up the school, get arrested, gently treated the nicest. How many brothers got shot to death with a phone on them? How do you reconcile with they mama in those moments? You know the system got a hold on us, but you rather talk fashion than ask them if they'll let you put clothes on them. I love you, brother, I'm just disappointed. You made Jesus walks and we all thought you was anointed. I don't even believe in Jesus, but that's a different topic. I'd much rather hear you rap the gospel than rap the gossip. You gotta stop it, dog, this is not what hip-hop is. You at the top, but you disregarding the total populace. You know the words of Christopher Wallace, more money, more problems. You gotta stay grounded or surround yourself with some pilots that can help you through the turbulence. Disturbing since you told us it was in your blood to be different since your mama did sit-ins. We don't want your opinions on politics, you not with us. Just make good music a good riddance. Just entertain us like you do for massing them. Keep tap dancing them, and give us some guest appearances on Kardashians. Just be yourself, that's all we ask of them. And please don't try to brainwash some artists around you like Saha and Chance in them. Just a quick convo, then I put this to rest. Sleep well, just let us know when you wake up, Mr. West.
What up, writers, you know, fellow battle rap enthusiasts and otherwise. Obviously, ILLMAC. I'm here with B Dot. You know what I'm saying? Thank you for being the first guest, obviously. Absolutely. Shit, real quick before we even start, you know, this is episode 1 of Meanwhile on Earth, you know, coming to you via Ruin Your Day Studios. And, I mean, shit, I've been wanting to do a podcast for a long time, listen to a lot of podcasts and everything, and, shit, before we even started, you had asked me, you were like, yeah, what's your favorite podcast? Yeah. I was like, shit, let's save it and talk about it. Because I know you had mentioned, too, you wanted to start a podcast. Absolutely. Some podcasts I listen to, it kind of depends on my mood. But lately, what I've been listening to a lot is between, like, you know, I listen to a lot of the Rogan Experience. I think he's great. Yeah, you know, he's up there. Even when sometimes I'm like, about certain things, but it's still just his podcast and the variety, the guests, and even how he conducts interviews. I really like. Duncan Trussell's Family Hour. I've been listening to. He's been a guest on Rogan several times. I think kind of rolls in that group. Also, Theo Von this past weekend. He's like another comic. His pod, it's a whole different kind of vibe. He's hilarious too, but he also gets introspective on there. Those are probably the 3 that I circle around the most lately. But other ones that I listen to periodically, like Kill Tony, which is like kind of like a live roast thing. He's a comic and they do it live at the Comedy Store, and they have like different they just have draw names out of a hat. People sign up to kind of come do a minute, like an open mic. No, it's like you come up and do a minute of material, and it's like anyone can just sign up to do it, and then they kind of give feedback and ask questions at the end of every minute.
It's in like podcast form?
Well, it's at the Comedy Store, like a comedy venue, and they come up and do a set in front of an audience, and it's like a panel. Like Tony Hinchcliffe, and he'll have other guests on there, I think Red Band or whatever, and then they'll just kind of like give feedback on the person's set or whatever. But also like Sam Harris Waking Up.
There you
listen
go.
To I know. That's why I saved that one for last, because I knew you would. It'd be a good.
I'll fuck with that one for sure.
Yeah. What?
So similar. So Joe Rogan, Joe Budden for sure. That's probably cliche to say right now because he's popular and shit like that. But I love how he conducts his podcast. Sam Harris, also Matt Dillahunty. You not familiar with him?
No.
So same type of you know, atheist movement like with Sam Harris and Lawrence Cross, those guys.
Yeah.
Like he's part of that bunch.
Gotcha.
He has a podcast called The Atheist Experience. That shit is flames because it's like they take in calls from like religious people, primarily Christians. They take in calls and they like debate, you know, like over the phone.
Yeah.
Hilarious shit. I love this shit.
Yeah, I mean,
But
the
for me,
premise is
it's
just debating.
Yeah, it's just thought provoking, man. I like to hear shit that's like in debate format. Just
Right.
Not even because I'm in agreement with this or that. I like to hear both sides.
Yeah.
Especially when it's like making sense and shit. So
And when you're like forced to defend your perspective or beliefs or whatever, is when kind of the most information is brought to the surface or valuable, you know.
when you're pushed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Originally, one of the ideas, I just didn't like it the way it sounded, and it had the word devil. But my original idea to call this podcast was like Devil's Advocate.
Shit,
Because
why not?
I don't know. I was like Devil's. It sounded corny to me, and there's probably other podcasts called that.
Probably, yeah.
But because I found that oftentimes when I'm talking to anybody who come off as like very sure about something, whether I agree with them or not, I find myself wanting to automatically look at things from the opposite, play devil's advocate, and look at things from the, and like, well, why this? Well, why that?
Just to
Don't
push
you
them.
think this though? Because and even if it's like I don't believe it, I naturally take this like, I'm like, oh, you're very set in that belief.
Yeah.
Makes me automatically want
Go
to
there. That's
argue,
dope
you
though,
know
because
what
when
I
you
mean?
push somebody to their limit, you get to see if it's just like, you know, superficial top layer shit,
Right.
or if they're really detailed and in depth with what they're talking about. You know what I mean?
Exactly. And I do that a lot with, like I said, with people who I even might share this point of view, and I think it's even a way of like breaking down my own perspective of that, and kind of like they're there, but they're almost playing my perspective while I'm trying to pick at my own perspective on whatever it is.
And then at the end of the day, it's growth.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I definitely try to almost look at at everything from a perspective of not being married to like any point of view, as far, you know, and be willing to intake new information.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Facts. This is intake facts.
Yeah,
I mean that's like what science is about. At the end of the day, you can't be. Information can change. And shit can, you know, new experiments can happen, or new information can come in, and if you can't add that on, you know, it's kind of like being stuck in any type of ideology. I think is like backwards at the end of the day. If you can't add to that perspective, then it's not any perspective to have.
Yeah,
nothing in life is locked in. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like things,
yeah.
You know, you have to be able to add to it. That's
I
definitely agree there.
Yeah, I agree. Like having a malleable sort of perspective is definitely what I found.
Yeah.
Shit. Speaking of which, a fan wanted me to touch on this, but I already was like curious. Like I know this weekend, you know, you're coming off of a battle with JC at Strike 2.5, right?
Yep.
First of all, dog.
Get into it.
First of all, I forget which battle. I think I was watching Geechee versus.
At that event?
No. I was watching Geechee versus JC, maybe. I think it was JC. Okay. But at the start, there was at the like promo for Strike. And dog, Beasley's intros, dog. The level of pettiness is unparalleled. I love it. It's hilarious. I was laughing so hard. It was like Strike, and they kind of give the backstory of Strike, and they're showing tweets.
Do you think he knows he's being petty? I honestly think that he's serious. Like, that's what I think, bro. And that shit comes across like petty and funny and shit. I
fuck with it. It seems like trollish. Like, oh, the strike is over, but some half-cocked conspiracy theory, loony conspiracy or something like that. Still thing that shows like tweets from like Hitman Holler or something. I'm like, oh my god,
that shit was genius.
Yeah, I was dying.
That shit was genius.
It's like I live streamed one of, I think, the small room events that Avo did for them out, and it's when Big K battled T-Top actually, and like the intro, like the URL introduced Big K to the world. Since then, he's been on smaller leagues. I was like, that's amazing. Like, just no. no political correct
shots, bro.
Yeah,
that shit's fucking hilarious.
So good. But besides LSC next mixtape being hosted by Beasley, how was that event and everything? You know, I didn't get a chance to peep any of it.
Yeah.
I mean, shit. Were you able to even enjoy some of it? Most of the times, I'm not able to enjoy a event when I'm battling at it. You know.
Yeah, I mean, I would say I enjoyed it. I mean, my first New York URL event officially, you know, out there like that. I mean, I had the RBE New York joint, but obviously, you know, URL is a lot different. I was shocked at, I thought it was going to be packed out, but it was a big, pretty big venue though. So
yeah,
I think it probably could have held up to like 1,000 people. Probably like 300 to 400 people. 3,000? It was huge, bro.
Damn.
Yeah. It was fucking huge. Like, I had to, like, the stage to the bathroom was like a fucking mile. Like, felt like I was going back. I was drinking water and shit, nervous and shit, trying to make sure my voice didn't get raspy.
Right.
For some reason, before all my battles, bro, like, whether it's because I'm sparring too much or I got into a fucking Loso's my guy, that's my brother, but we got into a fucking religious debate before my battle. So I'm already you feel me? So I'm
dissertation on like Christianity inspired by
you feel me? And that's my guy. So but we had a healthy discussion, but it's like we're going back and forth, so my voice is getting raspy. So I'm drinking all this water. I have to walk back and forth to the fucking bathroom.
Which I think you can dry out your throat by drinking too much water before you go on too. Because it's something about like your body metabolize, how long it takes your body to actually metabolize the water to like hydrate your throat or something. Yeah. It's like 8 hours, like, you know, like be drinking the night before is what.
Now, is the hot water shit a myth? Does that really help your throat or not?
I definitely do, like, when I do drink water before, like, performing or battles, I ask for, like, no ice or room temperature. And, yeah, I mean, hot water and tea and shit. What's the science behind that?
Like, the hot water?
I think cold, something about constricting your muscles, which you think even when you work out, you don't want to work out cold. You'll pull something, but you want to warm up your muscle and you know, your throat, muscles, all that.
Makes sense.
Someone way smarter than you, I'm sure.
Yeah. I never understood it. I mean, I fucking hate New York. Excuse me. I apologize, New Yorkers, but
talk to them.
I was outside walking around, bro, trying to find like a spot to just get some fucking hot water. I couldn't find shit. It was like everything is like compacted. You bumping into somebody here and there.
Yeah.
I don't like
we
that
got
shit.
These $30 We Love New York shirts and like hot dogs made out of street rats. What do you want from me? Get the fuck out of here.
That's how that shit felt, bro. Man, that's a grimy spot, bro. I ain't no front, but it's all love. I fuck with New York. But
so you're drinking a lot of water.
Yeah, I was drinking a lot of water. Shit, I guess I was just saying that to say it reminded me how big the fucking venue was because I had to keep, you know, fucking going take a piss and shit, walking back and forth. But yeah, that shit was huge, bro. But all in all, it was a cool event, man. You know, for the most part.
Yeah. And how did you feel about your battle? I haven't seen it. I missed it.
It was interesting, bro. I mean, I thought that I would get more reception. You know what I'm saying? Just I thought I've been putting up, you know, pretty decent battles this year. Put numbers on the board. You feel me? It was a lot different than the RBE. The RBE crowd was the RBE New York crowd was a lot different. I hit the stage, and I think my first words in my round was like, New York, what's happening? And they went crazy, like, you know, that type of shit.
Yeah. Because they're like, shit, it's our first time seeing B-Dot here in front of us.
So the shit, you know.
I think they pride themselves on being like unbiased, and ARP really pushes that narrative.
Yeah, I think so.
And which, you know, not to cut you up, but I think could play parts. You know, URL takes more of a combative sort of narrative. Like, you can't copy respect, the most authentic. So maybe that narrative gets pushed as far as the crowd.
Very
because
true.
ARP, I think, definitely tries to push the like, we
even
unbiased,
with his,
unbiased. And the
with
crowd
his introduction,
like,
too.
Yeah?
Because I remember now that you're saying that, I remember ARP's introduction was like, yo, show some love and respect. He came all the way from the West Coast. It kind of just changes
set the tone.
Yeah, you know. Not to say that, you know, Smack don't purposely doesn't do that. I'm just saying ARP goes out his way to do that.
I agree.
But yeah, when I hit the stage, man, you know, it was crickets. Only reaction I got was some red rag homies, some bloods. Like, they was in the front row, so I hit the stage. It was like, so whoa, blood, what's up, blood? So they was right there in the front. Yeah. It was like 3 of them.
Yeah.
And other than that, it was silent. So I'm chunking a piece to them and showing some red rag love. But when JC hit the stage, it was, you know,
That's
you know,
our guy.
Yeah, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
And so, you know, it's just part of the game. You know, complaining, but how I feel about the battle, it's an interesting battle, man. I just feel like I thought my material was dope. It just, you know, if the crowd ain't there to react to your shit, they not, you know what I'm saying?
The
And
energy
I think,
can be. I mean, that plays the biggest factor for
yeah,
sure.
you know what I'm saying? And,
but shit translates differently on camera, like we all know too.
Yeah, exactly. When I watched it, I still felt how I felt, you know, about my material versus his. I thought he did exceptionally well. You know, of course, we know JC's incredible. You battled him. You beat him.
Yeah.
So,
Talk.
yeah, bro. I don't but nah, man, it was a tough one. It was one that I don't know. For me, it's gonna take a couple more watches before I be like, I took an L. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think the general consensus right now is that I took an L. But for me personally, I gotta watch it a couple more times because I just feel like, you know, my material for what I'm trying to say is more real and effective than somebody just getting off bars. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know how to really say how I feel about it, but in terms of a winner or loser. But in terms of the battle, I thought it was dope.
Yeah. I mean, you know, just because we're all competitive and the fans, and it gives some like we're definitely always kind of like, oh, this person won, this person, but then no one's winning. No, you know, it's but what is important is definitely the performance. You know what I'm saying? And how we feel about that shit and performing the best of our ability. And you guys are both professionals to the point of like, it's like it's not like old Pride where there's no wake where you got a fucking you know 400-pound versus 100-pound. It's just like let's just see someone get smashed. It's like, you know, it's almost more evenly matched in terms of like we're all professionals. It's you know, rare that we see just absolute body bag kind of on the higher level that we're competing at in general, you know. That being said, someone had brought this up. I don't know if you want to touch on it, but something about after the champion interview or something.
He got a little spicy. I'm like, bro, come on, my nigga. Like, okay, so just to sum up our battle, break it down for you. Me and his worldviews are diametrically opposite. He's a Hebrew Israelite. I'm not sure if you're familiar with that. What that is basically like Christians on steroids. Black Christians on steroids. Yeah, scary. So a Hebrew Israelite will tell you that which is partially true in terms of the fake Jews, you know, like shout out to my dude Iron.
Frack.
I fuck with them.
Right.
But you know, they're what we would call the Khazarian Jews, or you know, not the original people of that land at that time. That culture and those stories and those myths were cultivated.
Right.
So then you have a group of black people that are coming in and saying, well, that was us. We're the original Jews. We're the original.
Doesn't Kendrick touch on that?
Kendrick also said he's a Hebrew Israelite. So what you have is, so biblically speaking, it's a lot of their perspective is anti-African because they're claiming for the most part, and that was me and JC's argument at the post champion debate, whatever the fuck. He was saying that they're not anti-African, but by biblical standards they are, because you got the curse of Ham. Tell me if I'm getting too fucking boring and
listening.
deep, bro.
No. This is why you're the. I want to do that.
Yeah, I don't want to have your podcast be boring. I want the people to, you know what I'm saying.
This is what it is.
So you know when you dive into the Bible, when you delve into it, you got the story of Noah. And we all know the flood and and they repopulate the earth. The repopulation is supposed to represent nations. You have Noah that has his son Japheth and Shem and Ham, and all these things are supposed to represent how the world was destroyed and only him and his family survived and they repopulated the world. Ham is supposed to represent Africa. Then you have Shem and Japheth that's supposed to represent like Asia and Europe and different things like that. As the story goes in the Bible, Noah was drunk. Ham sees him drunk. And there's some discrepancy about that actual word in Hebrew. Some even say it alludes to something sexual, which is why that whole book is fucking twisted.
What, drunk or
the word see to see or he saw him. That word in the original script in Hebrew before it's translated, you know, to Greek and English and all these other shit.
Yeah, the game of telephone.
Game of telephone.
Yeah.
In its originality, the word is debated to mean to perhaps have a sexual connotation to it, which is a whole different, like, what the fuck? We're talking about, that's some whole other nasty shit.
Right.
But anyway, let's just deal with it from an English perspective. His son saw him drunk. Noah gets mad at his son, Ham, and says, you know, I'm cursing Canaan and your descendants and all this. You guys will be slaves. And that's the story, as the story goes in the Bible. So that's a clear indication that the Bible is anti-African, at least in that particular scripture, because it's saying that Hamites will be cursed, that Africans will be cursed.
Right.
A lot of Hebrews that I am cool with, they'll tell you straight up, we're not dirty ass Africans. Fuck y'all. Like, we're Israelites. We're the original people from over here. We traveled to West Africa and then we got caught up in the slave trade. We're not Africans. So my argument with Lil Man was that you know, you can't be Hebrew and then, you know, just want to claim that you're African because it's on the tectonic plate of Africa. That's fine. Geographically speaking, we can have, you know, that's a more scientific conversation to have. But biblically speaking, it's not in your book. So we got an issue there. And he just started to get like a little spicy. And I was like, bruh, I'll fuck you up, man. Like, I mean, I didn't say that, but in my brain,
right?
That's the
energy.
That's the energy in my brain. I'm like, yo, the battle's over. You can't talk like that to me no more, bro. Yeah. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, when we battle, you can get your shit off, but we sit on the couch after the battle, you talking a little too spicy, my nigga. Like, yeah. So that's the energy.
It wasn't within context of like the debate. It was
it was, but it was a lot of like female shit, like. Like that type of shit. And I don't really do well with that type of energy. So he's sitting next to me like, making all these faces and doing all this work. I'm like, can I talk, my nigga? Like, so he's like trying to talk over me. You know, we was doing all that. So my thing is like, if I don't got a relationship with you before the battle, we're not cool. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And after the battle, if we get into something, we really not cool. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, I don't have to show you some type of ultimate respect, like
just because
we battle, like fuck you, nigga. I don't know you, like we're not homies. I ain't never chopped up, like we ain't got numbers on each other, like none of that. Yeah. So at the end of the day, whatever happened, it could go left, and I'm totally cool with that. So we kind of got into it. It was more theological in its premise or whatever. Right. But body language and like that, and like me feeling like, are you serious, bro? Yeah. You're like 100 pounds, my nigga. I will choke you out, like. Fuck you talking about? Like, it's just a joke to me. Yeah. So I think that a lot of these battle rappers, they just take their persona, their brand on the stage, they take it off the stage. Like, come on, bro. It's chill. Like you're a great rapper. Yeah, you're a great rapper. Don't get knocked out right here, bro.
Damn, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
that energy, like, and I've talked about this with other people, but of like when you're even prepping for a battle, like I battled people who I was a fan of, and then once the battle was locked in and I started, you know, shifted to that zone, I became not a fan of them. Right. And it's happened a few times because all of a sudden my brain perceives them differently. So even the momentum of that, then the battle, and then having this debate, I can see that being a momentum of energy, negative energy.
Exactly what happened in this instance. I was a huge fan of JC, and still am in terms of just appreciating his art and his skill set.
Yeah.
But you know, when you get to see people up close and see how they really get down, it's like, nah, you're not.
Yeah.
You're not that, bro.
You're right, and with battles too. I wanted to talk with you about this, like, because I see it happening all the time with your opponents too, like how you know, a lot of people will pick up, like, say, like, oh, like, you can't be both. You can't be, like, I want to touch on this because I know, you know, it happens so much. I want to, you know, get your take on, like, you can't be, like, you know, this street, you know, and still be, like, conscious and woke and whoop, you know what I mean?
I think being from L.A., I think battle rap culture is predominantly East Coast, and they don't really understand L.A. street culture. Mm-hmm. And so they definitely don't understand gangbanging in its inception, because if they did, they would understand that the reason why we even have Bloods and Crips today is because the Black Panther Party, the L.A. division of the Black Panther Party, was destroyed by COINTELPRO.
Right.
So I talked about this in my Cortez battle, actually, in the third round.
Yeah, I remember touching on that.
So Bunchy Carter there was two different organizations, black organizations. They had the Black Panther Party, and then they had Organization Us. These were two prominent, like, black leadership type of organizations within Los Angeles and Los Angeles County. Bunchy Carter, the leader of Black Panther Party, excuse me, got assassinated at UCLA while giving a speech on campus. COINTELPRO twisted all the information to make it seem like Organization Us did it, pin these two organizations against each other. Divide and conquer, like COINTELPRO does. Right. You know, like Hoover put in motion from the beginning. Yeah. So they destroyed the Black Panther Party. Out of that, out of the ashes of that, you have young teenage boys who no longer, young black teenage boys who no longer have any guidance and any leadership, any elders in the community. So they take it upon themselves to become, you know, leaders and organizers. So that's when you get Raymond Washington, Tookie Williams, the people that originated the Crip gang. In its inception, the Crips were supposed to protect the community. Even if you look at the acronym, Community Revolution in Progress, I believe. Don't quote me on that because I'm not a blue rag. You would have to ask Geechee, those guys. But I believe that that's the acronym for it. And they were about protecting the community. But they're young. They're 14, 15 years old. And these is like, you know, they out there swole, hitting weights. They, you know, they just feeling like they run the world. And when you're not mature enough to deal with that power, you're going to misuse it and abuse it. They start to abuse their power, start to kind of punk everybody in the neighborhood. And then you have other black dudes in the neighborhood feeling like, no, we ain't finna let them just come punk us. We about to start our own thing. They started the Brims. The Brims are the first Bloods that we see get formed in LA. I say all that to say, in its inception, gang banging or street organizations were about protecting the community, right? So what I'm trying to do, understanding that and understanding the community I come from Pacoima in the San Fernando Valley. Basically, that's LA County. And me understanding that, and also me being conscious, whatever that means for anyone, to me it just means to be aware, right? So to me, be aware of all these things that have happened, I feel like it's my duty, with my skill of articulation, my skill of communication, I feel it's my duty to try to bridge that gap or bring it back to its original premise. Right. So when I sport a red rag or shout out my homies in my neighborhood and shout out the Pyru card or the blood card, when I shout that out, it's more so for unification purposes or purpose of saying you can be both. You don't have to denounce it, because everything about gangbanging is not negative. You know what I mean? Like the camaraderie that's built amongst these young black kids in these communities, it's not all about negativity. Everybody's not out here shooting shit and doing this. Sometimes you're just a product of your environment, and it's like taking on the last name. Like, you're born into your family name, you take it on. If I'm born into this neighborhood, I take it on. Doesn't necessarily mean that everybody's like an active shooter, active gunner and all that. To be real with you, in most sets, in most gangs and shit, you really only got like a handful of dudes that's really about that. You know what I mean? Like, that's really like riding around, that's gonna really go put in work and do all that extra stuff that I don't condone. But for the most part, you know, everybody's just from where they're from, and that's how they grow up, and that's the hood that they know, and the brothers that they know. And I mean, you go to school with these dudes, you play basketball, you go like that's your brothers, and they're Crips or they're Bloods, so you take on whatever they take on. So that's my life, that's my story. Like, I grew up like that. My father was the only dude in the music industry at the time from our neighborhood, like back in the 80s. So everybody wanted to rap. So my house was full of Bloods and gangbangers that wanted to get into the studio. So that's how I grew up. I see nothing but red rags and D-boys at my house, like where I lay my head. That's my experience. And I think that it's important not to turn my back on my community when I get woke or conscious. I think my job is to go back to my community to wake them up. And so the argument is always, well, why are you killing your brothers then in your first 2 rounds? You kill them. And I'm like, well, my thing is this. If you're in opposition, I feel like to even take on a battle with me as a black man, you're already telling me you're in opposition of black unity. Because I wouldn't even battle me. Like, why? Like, if there was another B-Dot out there, why would I want to battle? Like, bro, what am I going to say to you? So you're telling me you're about African liberation, whether that be in the diaspora here in North America or in Africa, you're pro-black, you're about black unity. Why the fuck would I battle you? Because battling you, I have to automatically create contention and create opposition.
That whole negative energy thing, like we were talking about,
So why would I do that? So I feel like when somebody takes on it, when Smack or ARP calls you and you say yes to a B-Dot battle as a black man, you're telling me that you're in opposition of African liberation from a perspective of unity for our people. That's how I take it. That might be, for most battle rap fans, that might be, oh, you're taking it too serious, but that's just how I take it. So therefore, if you're in opposition, then I'm going to treat you the same way a lot of my elders that came before me treated the opposition. Like, I always make reference to Harriet Tubman. A lot of people don't know this. Harriet Tubman was blowing motherfuckers' heads off that wasn't following her down the fucking Underground Railroad.
Right. Maybe you've told me that.
Like,
definitely.
You know what I mean? Like, because it was too risky.
Yeah.
If I'm telling you we got this railroad,
and then you're gonna run.
You gonna run back and tell Master,
nah,
nigga, bow. You're dead. Like, you feel me? Like, there's no time to even risk it. So that's how I'm artistically taking it in a battle rap format.
Right.
I'm saying, if I'm giving up information and dropping knowledge, and you're willing to step in the ring to oppose that, then yeah, you've become the enemy.
Right.
And actually, from a perspective of going against white supremacy, you're actually more dangerous because you're in close proximity to me,
and kind of validated in a way. Of like, well, look, he
exactly. So you're actually more dangerous to me than the white man or the white man's system, because you're right here next to me as my supposed brother. So yeah, I'm gonna kill you first.
Right.
You know what I mean? And artistically speaking, that's how I approach it in the battle rap format. I'm like, you're not my brother then. If you're willing to stand across from me, you're not my brother.
Yeah, and you brought up a point, made me think, like, that being your roots and growing up around that, it would almost be a disservice to completely abandon or denounce it, because then that in a way is like when, someone who is under the same umbrella looks up to you like, oh, this is a positive influence. It is better to have an empowering, live as an example, as opposed to denounce it and have that person be even, that I feel like that will create a destructive cycle anyway.
Absolutely, 100% agree. And then what story am I telling? I didn't come out the womb, like, came out the coochie like Black Power, like, you know what I mean? Like, if I'm not telling a complete story, like the Christians will say, a testimony, then it's kind of like it doesn't help anyone, because I want somebody. Because here's my reality. I was a good kid. My father, raised me to play football and do all these other things, but I don't think he realized he had too much of that street shit around me. That's too influential and too glorified at school and in the movies and everything. How the fuck you want me to not be a blood when I go watch Menace to Society or Boys in the Hood, and then I go to school and we all listening to Dog Pound and Snoop in 1992 and 93? You know what I mean? Like, that's my reality. So I think that it actually helps the community better to say, look, I'm from that, and still am from that, just in a different twist. Like, I'm not out here, I refuse to ever lay a hand on another black man because he got on a blue rag or he's from this street, that street. That's ridiculous. We don't even own these streets. However, there's nothing wrong with being from street organizations if we twist the premise of it and the perspective that we have on what we're doing. My thing is, like, tribalism. It's just tribalism is a reality of human species. Without it, we don't even evolve or be here today, because we had to have small pockets of individuals that said, okay, we're going to go over here and we're going to get these resources. All right, cool. We're going to go over here, because if we just stayed on top of each other, we would have just killed each other and destroyed each other. So having like groups and pockets of people, that's just part of our,
communities naturally form. You separate everybody or whatever, like communities naturally form.
This is natural shit.
I think it was Crooked Eye. It might have even been on a song we did. I can't remember what song. I think it was, but I'm reminded because you said something like this. But he said something about something is the noose as the chain on us, and he's like something colors. Banging streets named after slave owners.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
That's the that's the sick shit about it.
Right,
no, that's the fact, bro. So
in duality, you know what I mean. Like we've touched on that. I think just in random conversations, maybe even on Watch or something about not everything has to be polar, and the fact that you standing for what you stand for, and the message that you convey on stage or whatever, it in a sense like. Humanizes or normalizes, someone who, sports, who, bangs the same way in a way where like there's almost this, like, oh, that's what this group, that's what this person, this group of people is about. Right. I could be threatened or whatever by them for these reasons, but in a sense, you're kind of normalizing or humanizing someone behind that, under that same umbrella.
Exactly, because they get dehumanized and they get put into these boxes, and it's like, yo, these are still human beings. Like, don't think that. I mean, it takes a lot of either whether psychopaths are brought into this world. This is a whole different topic. I'm not sure if this is the facts yet, but some people say psychopaths are like, they come into the world that way. I'm not sure. Maybe it's environmental pressures or whatever.
Right, that certain psychological traits and shit, like they can do tests and find it early and shit.
You know what I mean? So there's still science behind that. But I think it's unfair to just think that gangbangers are just savages. Like, they don't have feelings and emotions and, like, you know what I mean? So what happens is, majority of the time, any issue between gangs is just this shit goes back to the 70s. You know, you got gangs like Nickerson Garden Bounty Hunters and the Grape Street Crips. Like, they have a rivalry that goes back to the late 70s, early 80s. Like, some shit is just really difficult to get over, how you killed my uncle and then you came back and killed
Kendra say, you killed my cousin in 92. Fuck your troops.
Yeah, exactly. That type of shit, bro. So, you know, you got little small issues like that in certain, you know, close proximities between certain neighborhoods. But from an overall perspective and a view on gangbanging, I think that out-of-towners that just started gangbanging, like, their gangbanging is different. So maybe that's why their perspective is just destructive, because you guys are playing catch up and you guys just out there. And
it's like with the popular image of media, movies, everything, even like that gets pushed from record labels and probably is this like certain type, you know, like archetype of a gangbanger or whatever. And so when you're not around it, didn't grow up around it, that's gonna be your perspective. Exactly. You know what I mean?
Exactly, bro. Like, one of the homies from my section, the homie Squeak, he's a rapper too. One of the first times I talked to him, he told me, he was like, bro, it's all kind of homies from the set. You got killers, you got people that get money, you got smart niggas. Like, it's just a whole kind of it's a wide spectrum of different type of individuals, because that's life. You got all kind of people that are different within, you know, the same neighborhood. Everybody's not going to grow up and be the same person. So I just think that when people come at me with that angle in battle rap, I just think it's because they watch movies and they just think everybody's supposed to be a certain way. You got your Geechee Gottis of the world. Don't get me wrong. I know a couple of Geechee Gottis from my neighborhood. You know what I mean? I'm just not the Geechee Gotti from my neighborhood. I'm the smart, athletic, you know, star that was supposed to go far in sports, that rapped and stuff like that, and always been like this smart dude that's from that environment. That's all. And I kind of put it all together in my raps and in my battles, but I feel like I always make it make sense. Right. I think that it's contradictory to be like, just hop in a battle and just be like, bang, 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 kill, 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 and in my third round I'm like, peace and trying to save the world. That's not what I'm doing though. Right. I mean, everything that I say has context to it, in my opinion. Yeah. That's definitely a way, like, you know, I think maybe even battlers who don't necessarily believe what they're saying when they say it to you, it's like when I've said it countless times, I think, on watching stuff like that, but, you know, shit, 90%, I would say, maybe even more, battling is, you know, controlling the narrative. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, actually, not to tangent off too much, but I think we might have discussed that a little bit with Drake and Pusha, you know what I mean? Because I'm like, the Drake. We won't get into that debate. But something I couldn't deny was that Pusha controlled the narrative of that battle more. And that's like what's most effective, you know what I mean? And it's the major weapon. So, yeah, I think even a lot of times when people take that angle with you, it's coming from I can paint this way and it'll get a reaction. You know what I mean? So that's just the angle I'm gonna use. And that's what always interests me, because I'd be like, why are you taking this battle? You're gonna force yourself to try to make something in contention with me, when in reality you probably don't even really feel like that. Yeah, and some people, I think, maybe even take it out of respect, like, he's tight. That's gonna motivate me. Yeah. But I get that part, but then only if they were just rapping. Like, only if they were just barring, you know, like arbitrary bars about whatever that they could probably apply to anybody. When they battle me, they have to pick apart they have to try to, you know what I mean, do what I do in a sense. And when they do that, I feel like they're forcing this idea when they know that's not the truth. You know, but it's part of the game. A lot of battling too, a lot of battlers shit. I've caught myself doing this, and I in battles where I don't like my performance, and I try to stay away from it now. But when you're preparing for someone and watching their battles and all this, it's easy to sort of mirror their style, or feel like you have to outdo them at their thing. Like, oh, they do this, I'm gonna do this against them. Yeah, you know that's interesting, because that's how I started with JC. I was like, but then I was like, man, fuck this shit. I'm not rapping this slow. Because I was really about to rap like, I come through. You see that? And then this happened. Like, I was going to do that because
like
I know.
Eight punches around with a lot of like.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? His whole style.
I see, was it a blog or interview or something? Where was it? Was it on Watch or what? Maybe it was a blog where you were talking about like, oh, it was the leading up to the battle. I think the pre-battle interview. He's like, he can't just do this, pop his eyes out for 3 rounds. I'm different.
That's really what he does. And not to take away his pen, because it's amazing. But, you know, just the style, like, just back to what you were saying about watching. I was watching his shit so much where I was like, damn, do I got to rap this fucking slow? Because I wonder how, you know, I'm more, if anything, I'm probably one of the fastest rapping motherfuckers in battle rap. And it's just natural for me, I guess. You
got a lot of content squeezing, and that's like your natural sort of cadence.
And for me, honestly, I think I would have a hard time remembering shit at a slower pace.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Just for me, because it's like, what the fuck?
I've done that in battles where I've slowed down, like, because that's another thing is there's certain times in battles where I've noticed someone can control the pace too. And I've had moments where I've slowed down because I'm like, maybe I think I might be going too, I'm not even like a fast, you know, about it, but where I've kind of in my head made the choice to slow down. And then I'm like, that isn't how I practiced it. And like, blanked out, like wait, because it's not sounding familiar. It's like when you shoot a free throw, you know, they say do the same thing every time. Muscle memory. And it's kind of the same thing with prepping for a battle. So yeah, I remember changing my pace or something in a battle to sort of match the mood and kind of
didn't go well.
Just blocking, forgetting everything. Wrong battle, but but yeah, it's interesting. It's why I love battle rap, because aside from, and that, again, that's not even the point of this whole podcast, but it, you know, it's some interesting just in the psychology of it and the layers. You know, you can really, there can be just the surface level, you know, thing, but there's a lot of psychological layers and things, like even as fans, that when we watch battles, the information we're taking in. So, you know, someone's body language, the power poses, the confidence in their tone, and like all this shit, and kind of how far you take that as far as like, you know, the pre-battle, you know, shenanigans as well, like in the mental warfare that goes on. That's like the shit I love and studying and kind of like getting a better grasp on, you know?
That's so true, bro.
I always, even when I'm can't, you know, maybe I'm not writing for this battle today or nothing's coming, but I'm like, you know, watching YouTube videos on like body language or reading like 33 Strategies of War, Art of War, you know, and I'm always just kind of training mentally.
Right now. You about to help a lot of battle rappers out, bro.
I'm always sort of training in a certain way, whether if I'm not writing something, you know, or
still taking something in.
Exactly, and training a different way, in taking new information that'll sort of add new tools to the kit.
Very true.
That's why I love that. It's multi-layered. Also, did you see? Obviously you've seen like the Body trailer, right?
Yeah.
So that comes out what, November 2nd? November 2nd. Are you gonna try to go to the premiere? I'm gonna try to go too if I can get in. I'm gonna see what's popping. But
if you can get in, you fucking ILLMAC, bro. They better let you
I do got a couple lines in that bitch too.
Oh, you in it, right?
Yeah.
Fire,
Me and Thesaurus play almost like, we always joke around calling it the two old men in the stands in the Muppets or whatever. Where they just kind of give context to a scene. Like, I think it's dumb battling this female, and it like flashes to us, and we kind of give like, oh, this is happening, so this. You know, whatever, but it's pretty funny. But on that topic, and I think a fan brought this up as well, but I've seen it just because I've been tuned into like Shoddy and what's going on over there for my upcoming battle. But have you seen this too, Shoddy? The Versus. Have you seen that? The trailer for it's a new movie called Versus. And it's like, it looks eerily similar to Bodied, where it's like sort of, it's Shoddy plays kind of the main bad guy, essentially villain, kind of what Diz is. And then it's like the nerdy white kid. You see him like get introduced to battle rap and all this stuff, and it's a battle rap movie. And I think it just came out or is coming out or something like that.
I heard about it too.
Yeah, but it's right around the same time as Bodied. There's been a lot of like, you know, back and forth with people about Bodied and it's this narrative. What are your? Have you seen any of that? Like,
I seen a trailer. Yeah, I seen a little bit of that. You know me, I'm more like, I like to get the full grasp of something before I give like a real opinion on it.
Yeah.
However,
so you hate it?
No. Honestly, the trailer is fire, and I like the whole concept. I love. I'm really excited. I'm not gonna lie. I'll probably just go see the movie just to see Hollow and Loaded do a 2-on-2.
Yeah.
That shit looks crazy.
Yeah.
But I do understand the issues that people are having. Me personally, I have to see a film or read a book or whatever before I give an opinion on it.
Right.
Here is my issue though. You guys know me, man. I'm very unapologetic about black culture. I think that hip hop is undoubtedly black culture. I think battle rap is undoubtedly black culture. So I guess my only issue, I don't know if I have an issue yet because I'm not sure of how the film, really incorporates these perspectives. I don't know if it's about this nerdy white kid that knows that he's kind of cultural appropriation type of situation going on. I don't know if it's a lot of urban street aspect to the film. I don't know. So I can't really speak on that yet.
Yeah.
If I feel like that's missing, then yeah, that would be a problem for me because I just feel like every time we get a film on battle rap, it seems to be missing a black street perspective.
Right.
And that's very interesting to me because battle rap comes from black streets, you know what I mean? Like all the way back to the 80s in the Bronx when they was out there battling on the street corners. Like you can't leave that aspect out of it. So I think it would be fake to act like there's not two worlds of battle rap. And not to make everything super racial, but we have to keep it a buck. There's like a white battle rap world, and then there's a black battle rap world.
Right.
The white battle rap world, it seems to be more multisyllabic and jokes and shit. The black battle rap world seems to be really street, gun bar heavy, I'll kill you, I'll do this. So I just think like, you can't, the white battle rap world does not exist without being influenced by or inspired by the black battle rap world that came before it.
Right.
So I just hope that aspect is in the film.
Is represented.
You know what I mean?
And I've definitely seen it, and I think that was because Kid Twist wrote it, and so I think the main character is kind of loosely based on his experience and everything. But I know that there was effort to include like all, you've seen all the names in it from how everyone. But you brought up something that I would even want to expand on a little more, even just the 2 words. Like these 2 words, I think. Are almost like bad words to a lot of people. A lot of people ruffles a lot of feathers, and it's cultural appropriation. Yeah. And I've gotten in a lot of like when I like was on Facebook, I would get in these arguments with people because, I 100% agree. Like we can all, I feel like we should all be able to agree, like, yes, hip hop, black culture, battle rap, all that is under that same umbrella. Right. But what I find is a lot, like what I remember is a lot of people's arguments, being like, well, it isn't black culture when I go to make a song. I don't think, I'm doing a black culture thing. Right. And no, it's bigger than that now. Right. Like, it's all of our thing now. And, like, the metaphors that came to mind, I'm like, look, man, like, because you can make carne asada, taco or something doesn't mean it ain't Mexican food. Right. It's still, and you can enjoy it, and you might be able to make it very well. But at the end of the day, it's still Mexican food.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? Absolutely. And it's the same thing, I feel like, where...
I think the layer that happens in this situation is the history between black and white people. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, like kind of like guilt and
the reality of black culture being whitewashed throughout history.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So I think that a lot of us are very defensive about our culture because we know everything else has been taken from us. We know that religion has been taken from us. We know that just if you look at the cultures of antiquity in Africa and how they built societies, even that. The thought process that Greeks were the first to create the best society, when we know ancient Egypt and many other African civilizations predated that. So just this whole concept of like the whitewashing of black history comes into play in this, scenario when we deal with black culture. I think that
a lot of us, at least, you know, people that are cut from my cloth, we take it very seriously. And, you know, I think some white people don't understand that. They think it's always this fight. I don't have to fight with you about what's mine. I just want you to respect it. Like, you know what I mean? Like, black culture is black culture. And not even, I don't even want to use the word black. It's African culture, because if you study the inception of hip-hop over here in America, it's derivative from African cultural rituals and things of that nature, and just the rhythm of it and everything about it, the drums, like, that's where it comes from. So, you know, just to no one's saying that white people can't partake in hip-hop. What we're saying is that the representation of it is eerily similar to everything else that black people have gone through in this country and in the world, where we know something is ours, but then it gets presented as like it's not.
Right, and that tends to be a theme, you know, with you know, cultural appropriation and things like across the board, like, you know, even like, you know, native struggles, everything. It's like, let me, you know, like white culture being like, let me, you know, Eurocentric culture being like, well, let me take the good parts. This is all of ours. And that shit over there, that's undesirable, that's theirs. You know what I mean? That's like a trend, like historically across that map that we see from like, you know, even like holistic healing and shit like that. It's like, oh yeah, like a white person doing yoga and like at Whole Foods, like that's like man, we're getting smart now, huh? It's like, that's been existing for thousands of years.
You're literally talking about people's lifestyles. Like they've been doing it for thousands of years, and now you're doing it like it's some new hippie trendy shit.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
And it's like, oh, everything else, like, you know, like example, like native culture, like everything, like, oh, they're kind of little, you know, it's like mystifying and sort of like dehumanizing in a way of like, let's take these parts, but everything else is whatever.
That's
you know?
exactly what it is. So I think that's part of the discussion. It has to be. It can't be overlooked. Like, we cannot play, you know, this political game where we want to be politically correct or be soft on these issues. White people historically have stolen a lot from indigenous people. Black culture, hip-hop culture is another example that if we don't protect it and say it's ours, it can happen on a mainstream level. You know what I'm saying? Like this movie, like other movies, like the Shoddy movie, the Body movie. It's cool for, you know, white people to make movies and all that. I think that it might be a resource issue. I'm not sure. I'm not sure why there hasn't been a black battle rap movie made yet. I would just hope that anybody that is making a battle rap movie pays homage to the inception of battle rap, and it's somewhere in their film, you know, that makes it make sense. I don't know.
Right. No, yeah, I think that makes sense. You know, I'm hyped to watch it again. Like, you know, just different. It's like every time the second time you see a movie, you pick up different things. But
so you've seen it before?
Yeah, I've seen it. I've seen it at one of the festivals that they premiered here in LA a while back. But they definitely acknowledge and talk about race, like that's a major theme throughout the movie.
When he was sitting down at
that's
the
kind
table.
of like the main sort of like, you know, spine, I guess you could say, of like the movie is a lot of those type of discussions or whatever. So I'll be interested to even, you know, when I watch it back with sort of a new perspective. I was in there though, like fucking watching it like it was, because there's a lot of battle footage in it. It's a lot of you know, that's like dope. Even like what 8 Mile. There's a lot of story accented with battles. This is a lot more like battles accented by a story. You know what I mean? But
that's actually dope.
Yeah, I was in there like reacting like it was a battle though. Like I forgot I was in a movie theater, so I was like, "Woo, fire!" And like no one. It was like a couple other people kind of reacting the same. You know?
See, but that's dope. Like, it's dope though. I think it's gonna put more eyes on the sport. You know what I mean? The funny thing I think though, I see a lot of battle rappers like in defense of it are saying, why are you guys mad about this movie? This is gonna bring more people to the sport. I'm like, but you still gotta be good at it though.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like you acting like because this movie is gonna do numbers and bring more attention to battle rap that's gonna help your career. You still got to be dope at battle rapping, bro. Like, if you suck, it don't matter. Like, you know what I'm saying? I just think that's personally funny. I ain't gonna say no names, but I seen a couple people acting like this movie's gonna help their personal career and get them booked more or some shit. I'm like, bro, you still trash, bro. Like, you know what I'm saying?
At the end of the day, that just means more people gonna realize you trash.
You feel me? Like, come on, bro.
Yeah, that something. Like when I was, you know, originally from Portland, right? Yeah. And you know, it had basically, to summarize what I'm getting at, there's this like almost like small city kind of complex sometimes, I feel like. But a popular thing that I'd always see is like, you know, the mentality of like, oh, like crabs in a bucket, like we all gotta band together, whoop-de-whoop, like come on, we gotta support each other. And I'll be like, oh yeah, you have a show tomorrow. Like it ain't, we gotta support each other. It's come support me.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Help me get on your level that you work yourself up to.
Yeah, and it's always sort of that, or I notice a lot of times kind of in that similar, those sentiments are usually echoed by someone. It's not like, we got to do this. It's like, support me, me. But there's this kind of like, you know, thinly veiled like disguise about it of like, oh, we all got to build.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's like, man, like if I got a Thai restaurant over here and you got one down the street, I'm not gonna send people over to your restaurant. This is still competition. We could be friendly. We could build. We can even have a cookout every now and then that we both. But at the end of the day, we're competing businesses.
Like,
you know?
It's almost like some socialist shit in a sense. Like people want to, you know, battle rap socialism and shit. But it's like, bro, you gotta put in your own work, man. Battle rap is competitive, so it's about you and your skill set. This ain't no fucking kumbaya. We all bro.
Yeah.
You win your battles, you get your battles booked, and you elevate your name, your brand in the game. It's that simple.
And that's one thing that I see you doing too is like elevating your brand, where I feel like a lot is missing in a lot of battle rappers. But to be fair, also, you know, a lot of battle rappers have shitty brands in general. You know. Not even to say like my brand is like particularly strong, but talking to battlers, I've like, you know, kind of gotten the sense of a lot of people like, oh, like these leagues don't know how to market us. They should do this. Like they should be doing more. Like and I'm like the whole time I think like you didn't even bring merch to the event. Right. Like you did what promotion did you do? You know, you tweeted something and like where's your contribution to this to building your brand?
Right.
You know
you can't build a brand off of like monotony. Like you can't build a brand when you're in the midst of everybody else has the same exact fucking brand.
Right.
So you all gangsters, you all killers. Why should I support your brand of killing over his? Right. So it's like you have a brand.
You're all making the same dish.
Like, y'all making the same dish. Like ILLMAC'S brand is legendary. You stamped. My brand is like based off my content, you know what I mean? Like based off my worldview, which is really who I am as a human being. So like this is my. Don't mind this because this is all faded out. I had to just throw a sweater on because it was cold. But my brand is dope, man. Kinfolk Clothing. So that's my brand, right? And it's obviously, as you see, it's based off my worldview. Right. You know what I mean? So somebody like Geechee, he got the mafia shit, the use a bitch hats. Like, it makes sense. It's based off his brand that sticks out. Yeah. So these guys.
And there's that element of like, you know, authenticity that you just get whenever you're with Geechee. He's like the funniest dude, but it all makes sense. Like the energy, everything matches up, and that's like where, you know, a lot of people even who rap about whatever, it could be, you know, nerd, you know, you're a faggot type shit, you know what I mean, or it could be like the more hard, you know, gun street rap, like. But on both sides, there's a lot where it's just like what you're saying sounds good, right? I don't believe you, like, or I don't. Even if I'm like, that was technically good, or that's entertaining. It's like I don't. You know, there's differences of resonance, you know, of feeling and brands.
And you can't fake that. Right. You either got that or you don't. Right. You know what I mean? You can't even teach that one.
Right. Yeah. I think like step one is who are you, and what's that narrative and what you portray. Like you said, your worldview is, you know, tied into your battle rap brand, like that is consistent, you know. Geechee, same thing, and shit, even like honestly, shit with battle rap in general and like choices being made, like, you know, me, I tried to make the choice a long time ago to not do certain things, even when they're, you know, trendy, of like the race card, like battling an Asian. I'm gonna do that, even though like that's hella acceptable in this point in time, or take the obvious approaches to a lot of people, because I was always like, that's like lazy writing, and I've always I wanted to be an author before, you know, making music. So
dope. I didn't know that.
So it was like I've made the choice to be like more of a stickler for writing and actually saying something, or having, you know, some kind of underlying tissue of like about my worldview in a way, you know, not that every battle I'm in there, like, you know.
I get it.
Yeah, definitely. Oh yeah, we I wanted to bring this up because it's perfect, you know. this being my first episode of podcast, and we're talking about podcasts, I think it was Murder Mook's podcast, and you already know where I'm going with this. Because this will I've always, you know, got the ruin your day, you know, horde to talk about to push this narrative of me being a flat earther and shit. And so I feel like we got to put this to rest right now. And we talked a little bit about it. I thought it could be an interesting thing to touch on. Like, what's your flat Earth? Go. Unlimited on you. No, because you were saying a lot of people, like fans, for some reason hit you up about it, or pushing
they've seen me. I think they see me in a couple of debates on Twitter about it, and so ever since then, they're
and what side of the debate?
Come on, bro.
Are you on?
Come on, bro. My thing is this:
woke, woke as fuck.
This is what happens in this new age of information and easily accessible information on the internet. Everybody wants to be first to say something. Everybody wants to be first to be the smart guy or be perceived.
It's the same thing with like media. It's
right.
Yeah,
so it's like these guys. The flat Earth theory is presented in such an easily digestible way to be regurgitated back out, you know, to the masses, like you're dropping some new knowledge on somebody. So I think that's
shoot a bullet.
Yeah,
shoot a bullet.
What did he say? What did he say, Avo? God damn.
Is it the boat? Did he
no, he said shoot a bullet up in the air.
Shoot a bullet in the air. You know exactly where I'm going with this.
So everything you've ever been told to lie.
Yeah.
Boom.
Boom. Mook, we fuck with you, Mook. But look, it's just one of those things where it's like, how can I, you know, seem smarter than everybody? And like I have the jump on some new information, some new age shit that I'm about to break the system with. And it's just, you know, when you really delve into the science of the flat Earth theory, while they do present some interesting arguments, because I've been debating this shit for the last 3 or 4 years. They do present some very interesting arguments. However, when you really delve into it and you break it down, you can see how some of these arguments are just, like I said, it's just, oh, that sounds good. That makes a lot of sense. I'm going to chew that up and regurgitate it. Rather than being anybody that's a real researcher, your first job after you get the information that you feel like is on your side of things is to evaluate and cross-reference the opposing argument from real scholarship, though. You know, really delve into it. Really read articles from scientists who are directly telling you why the Earth is not
what if
flat.
Those scientists are Freemasons?
Come on. Come on. And see,
no, they're all...
And people...
Neil deGrasse Tyson?
That's another thing, bro. People...
I don't know, man.
Thing, bro. People don't even
know what the Freemasons are.
Yeah, they don't even know what a Freemason is. Like, in its inception, everything in this world from now, like, with this age of information that we can delve into, you're getting, like, the last chapter of it, or like the new presentation of it. You got to go back to the beginning and see, you know, what was the premise of it.
Stoneworkers and Masons.
Yeah,
and
like what did that mean? And how did that pick up steam? How did that
Right.
whole movement? You know, you got to get into that.
Yeah.
So that's a whole nother
podcast.
Yeah. But I would love to talk about that because that's some dope shit. Yeah. But where was that? But basically, what I'm saying is, yeah, the flat Earth. The Earth is not flat, and it's not perfectly a circle either. Right. You know, and this is where it gets into religion. What I find is that most of the flat earthers that I come across, they're religious. They're Christian because in their book it talks about the firmament, you know, which is what the flat earthers will call like the dome. So in the Bible it talks about the firmament and all this other shit. So a lot of Christians run to that. And it's easier to say that the earth is flat because then you don't have to deal with the universe and Big Bang Theory, string theory, which then gets you into the Earth and then the life on Earth, evolution. It gets into a whole can of scientific worms that these religious people don't want to get into. So they rather just say the Earth is flat because the Creator made it that way. He made a dome. Right. He did all this. And some of them even, if they're not religious, then they say that humans did it, I guess, that we made the sun and the moon and they're just rotating this flat disc underneath the dome. All this, like, okay, who the fuck built that, bro? Right. And for what purpose? Like, how did that? And more importantly, the most interesting thing to me is like
I was just thinking the other day because I was just like, how do you explain a solar eclipse then,
bruh?
I'm like, where
simple,
the Earth goes
shit.
between the sun and
it's
I'm
simple
like,
shit. But the illest shit is this: it would have to be the biggest conspiracy
or lunar
of
one
human.
of those.
No,
one
you're
of the
right.
eclipses.
You're right.
Okay, yeah.
So it would have to be the biggest conspiracy in human history because you have to get all competing scientific organizations from different countries in cahoots. They have to all agree, all of them, because one of them could say, "Oh, y'all about to tell people the Earth is flat." Well, I'm about to be the one that stands out to say that the Earth is round. They're competing. They're competing to reach, you know, scientific achievement.
And there's this group that'll be like, "Oh, don't believe, you know, Flat Earth Society. They're like CIA misinformation.
Right.
We got the real Flat Earth.
Right.
T over
now,
here."
now they're competing.
You know
now they're
what I'm
Flat
saying?
Earth competing. Yeah, it's tricky, bro.
I remember, and I hadn't really thought about it, the why or whatever really too much, but I think we, after a watch, vaguely got into it or whatever. Yeah. And one thing I said was, because we were both like, well, why? And I was like, well, I guess what could make sense, you know, is for one, you know, I think it's pretty hard to debate, like, information across all platforms, social media is all, there's a lot of social engineering happening in a way of like pooling information, not saying there's some negative connotation of that, but there's definitely a pooling of information happening, you know, and to study kind of basic human habits and all these things. And if you wanted, it's kind of like the thing, like, you know, you got Arab Spring and you got these sort of revolutions that happen, you know, in large partnership with social media, right? So being a power, you know, in the position of power, of course, you study that, you know, and a way to kind of find tastemakers or, more importantly, influencers. Or, I mean, advertising companies do this anyway, but like to find people, how easily people are influenced. Like you look at, you know, like FBI will radicalize a person just to lock them. Like, you know, like find that person. It happened in Portland. There was someone who was gonna like, basically these FBI agents like radicalized them to like bomb the square in downtown or whatever, but like gave him the resource and was hella like feeding him this information, all this. There was a bunch of articles about it, but all that to say, if you want to search how can we influence populaces, who are the influencers, you know, sort of on a social engineering level, what is the way in which information travels. The only real way I can really think of how to do that is come up with this new piece of information that's so wild that it has to be started where you can control the starting point of it. Right. So someone's sitting in a fucking NSA office or something like, well, how do we really discover, you know, people, the way in which information will travel and how much it takes to get someone to believe something outright and argue it, and how does that spread as just a simple social engineering experiment. Well, you know, there's already a million theories. You can't do aliens, that's established. You don't know where the origin of all that is. Like, oh, well, the Earth is flat. Right. Who would ever believe that?
Let's bring that one back.
Well, let's find out. Let's put out some vague information, and then just can see where it travels.
See where it goes.
You know what I'm saying?
That makes a great deal of sense.
And so how much information it takes to turn to change someone's perspective.
That's the key point. You know, because that information that they put in there, a lot of it, like I was saying, a lot of it does make some sense on first view. Right. You know what I mean? Yeah. So then you got majority of human beings are lazy when it comes to research. So they can put that into motion. Oh, that makes sense. This and that makes sense to why the Earth is flat. Boom. They don't want to do any more research. They just want to run with that.
Wikipedia, it's made sense.
Yeah, you feel me? That's how it go. But nah, bro. I mean, hey, to each his own. If you think the Earth is flat, that's cool. At the end of the day, it really has no merit to what the fuck is going on in the world. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, like, especially for me as a black man in America, like, I don't give a fuck whether the Earth is flat. I know that if I go down the street, I'm susceptible to be killed, you know, or or arrested or beat up by police because of the color of my skin. So I don't give a fuck if the earth is flat at this, you know what I'm saying? It has it's not applicable to my everyday life.
Right.
But as somebody who loves science and loves truth and facts, I delve into it for those purposes. But I don't give a shit whether the earth is flat or fucking
It's kind of like,
round or
I think it was
triangle.
Hawking that was talking about simulation theory, and he was kind of like, at the end of the day, he was like, well, at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter because it doesn't affect, like what you're saying, doesn't affect your day-to-day. You still have to go to your job. You still have to get money. You still have to feed your kids. Like, so whether I can, tell you right now, yes, you are a computer programmer.
Right.
Like, you still got to do the same shit. You still got to
unless
survive.
you're just gonna give it up and just die. Unless you just go off yourself.
Yeah, I forget the exact story, so I'll butcher, but it was way back when it was like a common belief, like, oh, the Earth is flat. Before it was a Galileo or whatever, and there was this other scientist, or this other group, but this one dude who was like a progenitor of like, no, it's not flat, and we don't circle the sun, blah blah blah, and basically they were gonna kill him. And he convinced them to choose. He could choose his way of death, and he was like, all right, I want to be thrown off the edge of the earth.
Right.
And so they're like, all right. Right. And you just never, they didn't kill him. I don't remember if they ended up just killing him out of frustration.
Fire.
But they started like, all right, well, let's, start traveling east or whatever.
That's fire. That's fire, bro.
And now he's like, all right, well, if I'm getting killed for this belief.
I'll go out like that. That's fire. That's
Which, if
smart.
it is, it's like, all right, shit, I was wrong. It is flat. Like, shit, might as well. This is pretty awesome.
That's fire, though.
Yeah, man. That shit just always cracks me up, and the writers, they always give me shit. Flatter, and I'm sure even just giving it attention is gonna create a whole new. Really? That's tight. Shit. If there's any questions too, go ahead. You got 2 questions.
B-Dot, I don't know if you want to answer this. It's cool if you don't. What's your favorite battle platform you've been on so far?
Damn, they trying to get me not booked again.
Right.
What about favorite battle? Because that will kind of satisfy both. What's been your favorite battle you've partaken in? Just personal favorite.
Emerson Kennedy, Traffic 3.
Great battle.
Vibes.
I just watched that battle like yesterday, I think it was.
Vibes, bro. Like as soon as I hit the stage, like crowd going wild.
It was crazy.
Like it vibes, bro. You can't. That's like one of those feelings you get, and you know this as an artist, as a performer. When you rock in the crowd, like as soon as you hit the stage and your music drop, if you rock in the crowd, like you can't duplicate that energy like that. Like, it's beautiful. that traffic shit was like, from wall to wall, it was packed out in there. So when you got that type of energy, like as soon as I hit the stage, they was already giving me that type of energy. So for sure that one.
It's almost like a different space that you operate out of when you get that certain feeling. For sure. I've definitely had battles or even performances where I'm like, I'm performing, I'm aware this song, but then there's those that it's just like almost out of body experience, not to like make it too.
No, that's
what
fact,
I mean,
bro. That's how it be. I know what you mean.
Where it's just you just kind of go into a zone and you're just there, like in that moment.
No, that's how it be.
That's dope. That was
another question. Where can we get the B-Dot merch at?
Oh, let me give you I don't want to butcher the site. Let me look it up for you. 1 second. Appreciate that, man, whoever that is.
For real.
Much love, bro.
That's your hat, too, right?
Yeah, this is the hats, too.
That's tight.
Yep. Let me get the official site.
Who's Fixk?
You say what?
Who's Fixk?
What?
You're saying you're woke as Fixk.
Oh, you're stupid, bro. It's, so it's Kinfolk Clothing. Clothing with the K. So kinfolkclothing.bigcartel.com.
And while we're on that subject too, you got, what's up with the music? What's next? What's the next moves?
So right now, I think I pretty much say this every time, man. I'm trying to get out of this deal, man. So I got some other opportunities on the table with some other independent labels that are interested. So I'll tell this story. I don't even mind telling it. I signed with a family friend pretty much somebody that
mistake number one.
Yeah, mistake number one. Facts, bro. But you know, for me, being in the music business so long and having so many bad deals and so even when I was a gangster
you want someone
rapper,
I understand.
You know what I'm saying? It felt better this time, especially because I'm a conscious rapper now. Whatever. When I was a gangster rapper and just rapping about random bullshit, that was one thing. Now it's even harder to get a deal or harder to get somebody to invest in you because they're like, excuse me, they're like, I'm not gonna see no money from this. You fucking attacking white supremacy? Like
that's how we get paid.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? For real, I wish, bro. They're like, you know, ain't no fucking, you know who runs the music business? Jewish people. You over here spitting anti-Semitic bars and shit. Like, I'm like, how's this going?
R. Solomon's dad, right?
Yeah, you feel me? I want to sign. I need to sign to that nigga label. But
do Cars 5, the soundtrack.
You said what? Cars 5? Did he have something to do with that or something?
Nah, he's just his dad's done a bunch of Disney movies.
Oh, word?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't even know that.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that's fire.
Yeah, watch me versus him. I'll give you the scoop.
I think I might have watched that battle once, too.
Yeah.
I got to check that out.
But, so... yeah, so you got the deal.
Oh, my bad. Yeah. So I got the deal. But I think they were like so into like my battle raps. They thought like all my records were gonna be like that. And I'm like, no, it's almost like what I was just talking about. I got to tell the whole story. I got to the wide spectrum. So I'm gonna have songs talking about gang banging. I'm gonna have songs talking about relationship shit. I'm gonna have songs. You know, I'm gonna cover who I am as a human being. Like, because for me, and you probably feel the same way as an artist, music for me is a way to release. Like, a lot of my shit is introspective.
Yeah.
Like personal shit. Like, I got a song about some personal shit that I wouldn't even talk. I won't even have this conversation with my mother, but I felt more comfortable rapping it.
Nah, yeah,
you know what I'm
100%,
saying?
yeah.
So, I think that they were like a little thrown off by that. I think they wanted all my fucking songs to be like militant, blah 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 blah. And I'm like, bro, that's first of all, that's actually not a good idea because it's not gonna help you sell any records. You know what I'm saying? As a label. And second of all, it's not who I am. I'm gonna have my Black Power shit in there, but I'm still me as a human being, and I still want to get shit off my chest just as an individual. So we're going through some shit. But I will say that I definitely got some dope records. I just dropped, I don't know if you heard it, I dropped a song called N-Word.
Oh, no.
Mixtape?
Yeah,
that's going to be on the mixtape?
Yeah. Oh, it is going to be the next one? Yeah. Oh, for sure, bro. Because I missed the deadline for that one.
Cultural appropriation. Yeah. He wants to own it.
Nah, I was my guy. I was my guy.
Hey, you gotta put your song on there then.
No.
Avocado song?
Yeah.
Dope.
We're gonna put it at the end of this podcast. I'm gonna hit up Jeff Hamilton to send it to him.
Everybody tweet Avo about his record. Don't let him slip off this.
Nah, so that's dope. Yeah. So yeah, no, and I noticed that within music too. It's like, you know, we want, in a way, there's this compartmentalizing that always happens. Like, for one, that's all our brain does, is it's a compressing machine. Yeah. It compresses information down to a fucking, like, even me looking at you, it's like my brain shrinking down a wave file to like an MP3 to understand there's so much more information going on, you know what I mean? And it's the same thing, you know, music, labels, all these things, like, and it's something, honestly, that I feel like sometimes I struggle with, because if I look at a lot of, like, you know, movements or artists, you know, getting popping, it's like you can kind of say, oh, this is that person, this is that type of rap, this is this is that, and kind of, you know, compartmentalize everything, which is, you know, kind of, I think, what you're talking about with the label, you know, like, oh, okay, I get this person's narrative, you know, 6ix9ine, the troll, you know, this sound music, even someone like Kendrick, who is also very multifaceted, you can kind of say like, oh, okay, you know, came from that background, you know, kind of the smart,
good, you know,
kid, good kid, exact, that says it all right there, that album title, you know, Nipsey's kind of like, oh, okay, the, you know, comes from that background, but raising up, you know, and the hustler, you know what I'm saying? I get it. And we can all kind of place the, you know, put everything into kind of a neat box. Whereas, like, say, you know, just to personalize it even with my music, sometimes I make this, you know, ratchet type song, and then I make this, and then at the end of the day, I make I feel like I'm pretty versatile where I can make so many different sounds. Then I look at everything I got, 30 songs for it, and I'm like, I don't know what to. Should I just take these type of songs, put them out, put them on a project, or should I make a well-rounded project? But that might come off as just too, you know, not being cohesive. Bro. Like, and I struggle with that a lot as an artist.
Boat. Yeah. Let me say it like this: I probably have 30 records, maybe 15 to 30. I'm struggling with a concept to where. I wanted to break my album into 3 EPs because what you were just saying.
I've been thinking about like chapters almost.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Because it's like I have like 5 or 6 records talking about my relationship.
Yeah. Then
I have 5 or 6 records talking about gangbanging and street shit. Then I have like another 5 or 6 or 7 records talking about, you know, white supremacy and what black people go through. Now it's like, do I take the best out of the bunch and make an album? But even then, it's still kind of all over the place. Because you're listening to one record, and I'm rapping to the females, oh, that's dope. Then the next record, I'm mad as fuck about some, you know, institutional racism and shit like that.
Speaking in him.
Yeah.
That song, and it's like, I need love. The next joint, it's like, wait a minute. No, same thing, I swear to God, I have like a bunch of, I have a project worth of songs about, you know, relationships. Like, that's been a tumultuous journey for me. You know, and then I got these other kind of deeper, you know, introspective songs, and then I got like the bar, like, you know, side, and then, you know, the kind of turn up more 667 influenced like sound and everything, and I'm like, same exact quandary, you know what I mean? Where I'm like, do I pair them? But then, and one idea I had was like, well, maybe like, you know, I'm trying to get into the mode of like satiating my writing, you know, I've been really having more of an urge to write, you know, like whether it be a script or a movie or a book or whatever, or like just small pieces. Like I've been with, so I'm like, maybe, you know, I take the best of the bunch and then write a storyline that kind of incorporates them all, kind of narrated or something.
Man, same exact shit I told myself.
Yeah.
I said there has to be a way to narrate this thing. And so, not to give away any gems for any other artists, but that are out there trying to figure this out, because I don't want nobody to take my idea, but fuck it, I'm going to say it anyway. One of my ideas was poetry. You know what I'm saying? Particularly like female poetry. In between some of the records to make it a little cohesive and tie you know, shit together.
Like a female writing or doing poetry?
Yeah, like a female doing the poetry. Sort of like almost like narrating, but poetically.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I've reached out to a couple females that I know that do Finesse. You guys know Finesse. He knows Finesse. You know Finesse?
Yeah. We reached out to Finesse. A couple watches, I think.
Yeah, she sent me some shit. So I have. So I'm probably gonna have her on my joint. So that's an idea that I had to make it all cohesive. But it's tough, bro. Yeah, it's tough. Like I can't even imagine. And the thing about it is, we don't really get that type of help that major artists get. Yeah, because people don't know that.
They'll come through and be like, well, this is how we need to put you. You know what I mean? Like more of this, less of that. Yeah. Second album.
Right.
Like, you know,
and even not even from the business perspective, you get somebody like Kendrick that has a Dr. Dre he can go ask.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like it's like, bro, you get somebody like J. Cole that has a Jay-Z he can go ask, or you know, it's just like, bro, we're in there just doing this shit. You know, not to say that we don't have those creative capabilities, but it's like it's a lot easier when you have people who have successfully done it.
Yeah, the team and guidance.
These records will work. You know what I mean? So. I'm in the same boat, bro. Same boat.
And I swear, like, like I've had this same thought of doing the like. I'm like, I'm just gonna do EPs and just group all this. I'm like, this is my like heartbreak / new beginnings record. And this,
I've said the same shit, bro.
Yeah.
Same
and then the next day, I'm like, no, I can't do that. I don't. And
I'm such a lover of albums, bro. Like I just love like great conceptual albums. Yeah. So. And then there's this new thing though with these EPs. They seem to be successful.
People's attention spans are shorter.
So short. You know what I mean? So that's fucking me up. Like, nah, I want to create
there's no third verses on songs anymore. Bro, you know what I mean?
That I'm a victim of that right now.
Me too.
A lot of my records are 2 verses, and I'm like, what's going on with me, bro? Yeah. Like I write 2 verses, and I'm like, nah, that song's dope.
Done. Cool. Yeah. 3 minutes.
Yeah.
2:45.
Yeah, you feel me?
You know, 3:20 max.
Same
like on a slower tempo.
I think the only record I have that has 3 verses is the one I just dropped, the N-word. You gotta check it out. It's pretty dope. It's about my confliction with the word. You know what I mean? Like I don't know if I want to say it anymore while I'm trying to be pro-black. But that's my personal conflict, you know, as a black man. You know what I'm saying? Like I grew up saying nigga, 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 and now I know that it's not. We can twist it and play with it like it's a term of endearment, but at its core, it was meant to destroy us as a people. So I have a record about like how I feel about it, how I feel about white women using it. That's the killer right there for me personally, bro. Like that shit boils my fucking... That's a thing?
That's like a very popular thing?
It's not a very popular thing, but I think, you know, a lot of white women feel comfortable whether they date black men or they go to fucking concerts, and they just really starting to feel... I've seen too many clips on the internet of like white women feeling very comfortable using N-words. So my second verse is like aimed at like the Kardashians and shit. You know what I'm saying? Like that type of female.
That's a big, everything they do, you know, that's... you know, 100% black culture, like their little following, their massive hordes of just, I don't even know what kind of people those are, but you know, they're like, oh, the Kim Kardashian box braids, whatever it is. Like, who was it? One of them that did that, where it was like major musicians, like Biggie and like Tupac shirts and shit.
That was the little Kylie bitch. Yeah.
I was just like, what?
Yeah,
like
bro.
Taking talented people's work.
Do you feel me?
It's weird.
That type of shit. And then the last verse is me like really like saying I want to give up the word, and I actually even changed like the tone of my voice to almost like I'm whine, like it's very whiny, like I'm conflicted. Like that's a little bit of like some of the bars in there, but like you should check it out. I want to see your opinion on it. It's pretty dope. Yeah.
Definitely, and I definitely will, and on that, and y'all should too. And on, where is it? Where
it's on my SoundCloud right now. I wanted to put it on Tidal and all that shit, but like I said, I'm caught up in this fucking situation.
Yeah.
But it's on my SoundCloud right now, which is SoundCloud.com/King Dot.
King Dot.
Yeah.
Boom. And in this same, I know I remember a fan asking this like on the way. And I hate asking this question in a way, but it would be good to address. We're on the topic because it's almost cliche, like the whole battle rappers making music, you know, and our battle rapper. It's kind of two parts actually, like, you know, address the battle rap music stigma, if you will, and then also kind of the difference, you know, or if there is a difference in sort of how you create in terms of battles versus music.
Yeah, I'm gonna keep it a buck. I think the stigma is real.
Yeah.
I think a good portion of battle rappers don't make good music, and I think it's because they battle rap too much. It's a whole different thought process. You know this. Like,
100%
the train of thought
different.
is like, your brand is to be destructive, and then you get caught up in your own brand, especially if you're not really that.
Fans' expectations.
Yeah, you get caught up in being this gangster. Because let's be honest, gangster rap is dead. Like, you know, in the industry, like there's no more like gangster rappers. If anything, gangster rappers are selling a lavish lifestyle, but it's not like I'm a killer. Like Rick Ross, he's a gangster rapper, but he's like a drug dealing kingpin. Yeah, like, you know what I'm saying, like. So the guys that are really like selling records in the music industry, they're not gangster rappers anymore. But everybody that battle rappers is a gangster battle rapper, and they take that brand into their music. Like I don't want to listen. I don't want to fucking pull up your music, bro, and you got 15,000 gun bars on the track.
Right.
Like that shit. This is not 1995 no more. Like that shit's dead, bro. Yeah. You have to be introspective. You have to be melodic. You have to know how to write records, bro. Like
sometimes I like find it hard to get back to like barring out on a song.
Yeah.
You know, in that. For a long time, you know, I feel like I've been making music a long time, but I feel like, you know, in a way, I agree and almost have a different perspective as far as it, because what I realized probably like, I don't know, like 2 years ago, and it's still
real quick.
Oh yeah, no
Can
problem.
we do that?
Yeah.
It's
all good.
One second.
You're good.
Yeah. Too much damn water.
That's all good.
You want to answer any questions? From
Yeah. Any questions?
Okay. So your next battle is Soul.
Right, battling Soul on Shoddy Horrors League Premier Battles December 1st, and I know they're gonna have a pay-per-view. Are you talking with them about doing it? We'll see. But I know they want to have a pay-per-view, so you'll be able to watch that Just not sure where it'll be available. I'm sure it'll be on their website and everything. Premierbattles.org or something weird. I forget. Look it up. Or maybe it's .co. Yeah. Anyways, I'm excited, man. I think Soul is really dope. I've had respect for him for a long time. And people been wanting to see it for a long time, you know?
Not to interrupt you, but what about LSC versus Jersey? Have you heard about this?
Yeah, I think I seen Diz or I've seen some fans, I think, at me on some debates on that, LSC versus Jersey. Who's that? Like Surf, Twerk, RYD, Arsenal, Suge. Yeah. I mean, who's gonna set it up? Let me know. Yeah. I'm always open. For that. Who would I take? I seen
Arsenal
me.
Rematch.
Nah, man. I think Geechee Arsenal could be dope, if that was the case.
I think Geechee and Surf would be.
Geechee and Surf.
For real.
What about Diz has been wanting Surf? I feel like for Diz and Twerk. I could see that. I don't know. I think I've seen a few fans say RYD.
That's dope.
Yeah. RYD's really dope. So he was the fan asked about LSC versus Jersey.
Oh yeah, that's picking up some steam now.
Yeah. Could be crazy.
Yeah, that would be fire. But I told Diz, I'm not only in LA. Yeah. All this fucking bullshit. Neutral ground, fuck that, bro. We've been, since the inception of battle rap, it's been New York is home base, and everybody's been coming to New York or New Jersey or, that area.
Right.
Nah, bro.
Y'all gotta come see us here.
Come see us, yeah.
I feel that.
My fault. You was saying something though before I should.
Oh, yeah. No, I was just touching on music and battle rap and that whole thing. Basically, long story long, what I was saying is like a couple years ago, I think I became aware that my music was suffering from battle rap, not from a like just time allocation point of view, but a mental state, of like, like I'd get these group of songs I liked or whatever I thought I liked. And I realized I was kind of creating with the reception of my music being kind of in the back of my mind. And so like having a battle rap fan base, like, I need more bars on this, or I don't know if I want to put that out. It's kind of vulnerable and battle rap. And like, I always tried to pride myself prior to that and being like, nah, I'm dope at music and whoop-de-whoop. But then I realized like, a lot of this old music, I'm like, this just sucks. Like, and I'm realizing why now. I wasn't creating from a raw point of view. And it's still kind of like a muscle that I try to exercise of like, because I'll find myself snapping back into like, oh, well, should I put more of this out because of, what these certain expectations or whatever. But, I came to the realization, I don't remember what I was reading or I don't remember what it was, but sort of like the quote of like, when you create something with its reception in mind, art, at least, it becomes tainted, it becomes inauthentic to a certain extent.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so like, in that way, I definitely think, battle rap can have that sort of psychological
because battle
effect.
rap's not introspective.
Right.
You know what I mean? I feel like majority of art, if not all art, should be introspective. It should be an extension of your soul, right? Like like whether we're talking about any type of art, sculpting, painting, any type of creative art, to where you're trying to put something on display. Your lyricism, your writing as an author, whatever, it should be an extension of your soul, of your worldview, and your perspective. Battle rap is just characters. Like, you create yourself as a character, as a killer, and your job is to write all these gun bars. And these guys get caught in that, bro, and they can't. Only a few of us can wiggle back and forth. A lot of them get caught in that, and they can't get out of it.
Right.
All their music is.
And here's what I also think that goes hand in hand with that is, and I've said this before, I think, in interviews, because people have asked me, do you think it's true? And I've been like, no, I don't.
Yeah.
And part of me still thinks that in this way, though, that what I have said is most people make shitty music. I'm like, but where it gets skewed is that people think, oh, because they're good at battle rap, they should be good at making music. I'm like, I would venture to say there's about the same ratio of battlers who make shitty music as opposed to good music as there is rappers who make shitty music to good music. It's just that battlers have a platform and this platform to where they become visible, even more visible, and someone thinks because they're good at one, they should be good at the other.
That's a great point. Never thought about that.
Yeah.
That's a hell of a good point.
But I agree in the way of, like I said, the kind of the psychological effects it can have as well of like, oh, well, I gotta have more bars because I'm this you know, fan base that I've created. They're fans of me, not my battle rap persona, right? Like it's a thin line, you know what I mean? Like look at your battle views versus your music video views.
Bro, like
let's
honestly,
talk
like
about it, you know what I mean?
Like if like somebody like Tay Rock, let's say Tay Rock made a dope ass introspective Drake-ish type of record, like sonically, melodically, and context wise. If he did something like that, fucking fans would be like, "This shit is trash." Yeah, you trash. You soft. That shit. But sonically, it could be like fucking amazing. Right. But Tay Rock is not going to be allowed to do that because he's gun bar
brand. It's not. Yeah.
So it's
you
weird.
Forcing it.
Yeah.
You trying to sound like Drake.
You feel me?
Yeah.
So it's just
100%.
like it's weird, but I make sure I don't get caught up in that, bro.
No, exactly.
Because I think that I cherish my music because it's more my music is more for me, even though that's weird because you're trying to sell music to the audience and the mass, but really my music is for me to release it. It's always been an outlet for me as a kid when I was making music, and I grew up in the music business because my father had all these different record labels and worked with Eazy-E, Dr. Dre, Ice Cube, all this shit. I grew up like that. Right. But it was always an outlet for me. You know what I mean? Like when I was mad or angry or upset, I would just write songs. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So it just so happens that I got good at writing. And I can kind of be, and let me be honest, I don't even think I'm that good of a battle rapper. I'll give myself like a B at battle rap. I give people like you. Yeah, there you go.
that's where that comes from. B dot period.
Yo, but nah, I definitely, you know, I don't see myself as that type of like top tier type of battle rapper like you guys. So I would never get caught up in that because it wouldn't bother me. You know what I mean? Like my music is the main focal point to me as an artist. So I would never like get caught up in some type of battle brand that will kind of skew my music and fuck up what I got going on over there. Yeah. Can't do it.
Definitely. No, I definitely feel that shit. Like I made, like most people kind of get into, I think, or at least a popular story from battle rappers or something, especially sort of from you know, the freestyle era is like, oh, I started freestyling at parties, just having fun, getting drunk, Then I was like, oh, I should write. I mean, for me, it was like definitely the opposite in terms of like I wanted to be a writer, you know what I mean? And I was hanging around motherfuckers who was rappers, so they were like, who rapped, so they're like, oh, you should rap, like you're quick, like you can. I'm like, nah, y'all are the rappers. Like, no, you should. And I was like, and then I got into like writing raps or whatever. And then a few years later is when I got into battle rap, and that was like through my progression of like I was a gangster rapper from like 11 to 14, 15. Everything was just getting killed. And because I was, you know, I didn't have no life experience. I was just mimicking what I listened to. I listened to West Coast gangster rap. You know what I mean? Of course. But so yeah, I think that gave me a leg up in terms of just like, you know, having a proclivity to making, you know, decent music and stuff. But yeah, there's layers of awareness, you know, because I was like, oh, I got a handle on it. And then somewhat recently having it like, oh, I've actually, why it's hard for me to go back and listen to this old music. Yes, I'm evolving, but at the same time, I feel like I'm breaking out of the, you know, the eggshell of my understanding of my own music that I thought I had a grasp on. You know what I mean?
I get it.
Yeah. Is there any more questions? What is it?
Pretty bad ones.
Yeah.
None that I would.
You gotta produce this.
None that I would consider asking.
No.
They're just like lowbrow questions.
Some pettiness. Some utter pettiness. Yeah, man. Ultimately, I think shit. We put in some good some good conversation,
Absolutely,
good dialogue. I know, you know, this thing lasts, definitely have you back on everything.
Absolutely,
I super
bro.
appreciate you being the first guest.
And I'm actually here to learn too, because you know I want to do my own. So I'm seeing how you running it, how Avo running it. So yeah.
Oh yeah, this is a shit show. Don't try to be like this.
First episode, bro. First episode. It's all good.
No, yeah, I hella appreciate it. And that's like one of the reasons I wanted to have you on. I know we, you know, like
we always have good chop ups.
Yeah, exactly. Sure. So I'd love to have you back and have me on when you
absolutely,
start yours,
bro.
For sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Is there anything else as far as you talk about with your new singles on SoundCloud?
Yeah, my new single N-Word is on SoundCloud. Check that out if y'all interested. In terms of the battle rap fans and all that, me and Geechee Gotti have that 2-on-2 with Marv One and Quest McCody coming up, which I should probably.
That's fire.
I gotta definitely pick your brain on 2-on-2 and chemistry and any advice.
It's corny. 2-on-2s are corny now. Oh yeah, fan asked would y'all Geechee and B-Dot versus Shufflo, Marlo and Shuffle T.
Who's that?
That's the answer. Thank you very much, B-Dot.
No, I'm not even trying to be. No, I don't know what it is, bro.
No, that's perfect.
All right, man.
They're a British tag team. They're super funny.
Okay.
They're just like come from like a comic actor sort of background and got into battle. But they're like have a real good dynamic and everything. Dope. People like have been asking me and Thesaurus to battle them for years or whatever. But yeah, I remember a fan tweeted when I was like, any questions? Like, ask if him and Geechee would battle Marlo and Shuffle T.
I'm gonna check them out. I don't know who that is, bro.
I watched the Bad Bars battle. They battle each other, and they're like roommates and all this shit. And it's like the whole purpose is to do like.
Did you guys watch that on Watch?
Yeah, we watched. We've tried to a bunch. It just doesn't translate for some weird reason over the States.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, people don't like British people.
That sounds familiar. I feel like
they're like the best 2-on-2 team.
They got a lot of chemistry. It's crazy.
I'm gonna check them out. I feel like I watched that or something, or maybe I'm gonna check it out for
sure. Shit, man. Appreciate you. Likewise. This will be on patreon.com/ruinyourday.
Yep.
I'll throw it up as well for my patrons on patreon.com/ILLMAC'TV. I know I haven't been active out there, but that's partially what this is. And I'm definitely going to get you on a Raising the Bar soon as well. We've been talking about that.
Yeah, so, definitely. Yes. Definitely got to do that. I got some bars for that for sure, bro.
Avo, any last words? Thank you for tuning in. Meanwhile on Earth, the first episode.